You've come to the right place. If you're a course creator looking to build more impact, income, and freedom, LMScast is the #1 podcast for course creators just like you. I'm your guide, Chris Badgett. I'm the co-founder of the most powerful tool for building, selling, and protecting engaging online courses called LifterLMS. Enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of LMScast. I'm joined by a special repeat guest, Allie Mathis from the LifterLMS team. How you doing, Allie?
I'm great. Happy to be here again. How are you, Chris?
Good. Allie is further securing her lead as the most repeat guest on the LMScast podcast. We've been working on a project at Lifter called the Recommended Resources page, and that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you want to lead us in?
I'm super excited that this page has launched. So I know there's a lot we can talk about related to it. Maybe you could start out by just sort of giving everybody an overview of what this page is and why we decided to put it together.
Absolutely. It's at lifterlms.com/recommended-resources. Also, if you go down to the bottom of the website of lifterlms.com, you'll find a resources area, and there's a link to the recommended resources there. But a lot of people know Lifter is an all-in-one solution for building your WordPress LMS website. It combines e-commerce, all the membership functionality you would need, engagement functionality, and it has all the LMS stuff, the courses and the quizzing and the assignments and the reporting and everything. So it's really an all-in-one in that ecosystem of WordPress LMS website. You don't need a separate e-commerce plugin or membership plugin or whatever. But the reality is, as a course creator or someone building a training-based membership site, is you still need a few other tools and, tech, hardware, software, apps to get the job done. And I mean, everybody's really busy. Like, I think we're living in a time, we're recording this in the summer of 2019. Every time I ask somebody, how you doing? They always say the same thing, crazy busy. And, but I think course creators, especially, they have like an even extra little layer of busyness because they got all this, different areas they have to excel at for their project to even work and become a success. Part of
and
that.
Sometimes,
Go ahead.
Sometimes it's not their full-time job either. It's
side hustle.
a side project. So they have their regular job, their life, and then they're trying to put their course together too.
I think that's a really good point. Like, if I was going to write a book on the side, like a nonfiction book or a novel,
Mm-hmm.
I just need a computer and a word processing program, and I could kind of get started. But creating an online course, if you're going to do that on the side, it's not that simple. You can't just, you need some more things to come together to start putting it together.
Right.
And that's really the genesis of it. Because, one of the things that makes courses so valuable is the multimedia interactive nature of it. I mean, there's never been a better time in history to create scalable training content on the internet. In order to do that, you got to get a few things right. It's never been easier and more possible for anybody to do, but you still need to get things like a website, video camera, microphones. I don't know, maybe we should go over some of the categories of all these tools we were talking about, all the tech and gear.
Yeah, we can go through what some of the categories are on the page, and then I'd love to talk a little bit about what your personal experience has been with, putting your course sites together and your personal stories related to some of these things like hosting. I know you probably could talk about hosting for 4 hours. We won't do that, but maybe we can touch on some highlights or some horror stories or some good stories. So
yeah.
You want to go through what some of the major categories are on the page for people that aren't out there?
Yeah, this is like a living document or whatever. We're just trying to make it more valuable over time. But we've got hosting, domain name registration, email, CMS, which stands for Content Management System, themes, page builders, LMS plugins, third-party add-ons, SEO plugin, Google Analytics plugin, forms plugins, analytics, payment gateways, email marketing or CRM, meeting automated meeting scheduling, project management, video editing, video hosting, virtual meetings and webinars, video camera, microphone, computer, and design services. Wow, that's a lot.
I think there are 48 resources on the page, actually.
Yeah. But the reality is what happens is people end up in research mode and they're looking at 480 and their brains explode when they're trying to like pick the tools to get the job done. I mean, Allie, you and I really relate on project management, and we've done it online, and we've used Basecamp, we've used Asana, we've used Trello, we used
Jira for a while too.
Jira. We've done like, kind of rough project management, just doing it through email.
Yeah.
But like, how valuable is it? Like, pretend if you could go back in time to somebody who is just getting into online project management, like if there was somebody with a lot of experience and be like, you know what, there's a lot of tools, there's literally like 50 project management tools out here. But if somebody was like, here's a short list of ones that you might want to check out, that's really valuable.
Yeah. I mean, as a company, I think we piloted, many different systems for like a month or 6 weeks or even 2 months, some of them at a time, before we decided that they maybe weren't the right fit for us. And then, had to start from scratch and move on to something else.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm laughing because that always drove me crazy because I don't love change. But, but
I don't either.
It would have been helpful, if somebody was like, here are 3 really awesome ones that you can try out, and one of these 3 will be a good fit for you,
Yeah, I went through that. Like you mentioned 3. I think 3 is a really good number. So I was trying to level up my audio capabilities for creating courses and just working on the internet. And in the beginning, what I recommend every course creator start with, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see me holding up I have an iPhone, so these are the Apple earbuds. That's all you need to get started. Like, don't overcomplicate it. The world's not going to collapse if you don't have
that's what I'm using right now.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, and your audio sounds great. Sure, you can
I've had used microphones in the past that you have not approved of.
I remember that.
Yeah. So,
not all earbuds or headsets are created equal.
Right. Exactly. That's my point.
But so we have like this is the like $79 Audio-Technica 2100 USB microphone. So when I wanted to do something a little higher quality than my earbuds, I got that and this little boom mic thing that cost $15 on Amazon. And now I have something a little fancier where it's called the Samson Go Mic Mobile, where I can walk around and I'm not attached to the computer. That I'm not professional level. I'm not doing like Joe Rogan podcasts, like studio quality audio through a mixer or anything like that. But I'm good. Like for most course creators, one of these 3 is fine. But I see people spend months shopping for audio equipment and just getting overwhelmed or spending too much time and money.
Right. And then you get stuck and it delays like your content creation and your whole course and your revenue stream, really.
Yeah, and I just want to spotlight Jonathan Farley and Mark Mays over at Tools for Course Creators, because they are audio and video professionals, and they took me to school on they helped me figure out that based on what I like to do and the fact that I have a whiteboard and this office I walk around in, they're the ones who got me this. And it was like just the stress relief of them saying like, this is the one you need. And, based on your budget, I was like, I don't want to spend a lot of money on a microphone setup right now. They're like, that's the one you need then. And that's what we're trying to do for people, not just on the hardware, but also like the hosting as an example. We see a lot of people, it's in every Facebook group that involves WordPress. Like, what hosting do you recommend? And then there's like 50 answers.
Yeah. And we used to do client services, really, right? That's how the company started. Codebox, the parent company of LifterLMS. And so that is a question when I was over in client services that I had to answer on a regular basis, questions or problems with hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes up and people, I was talking to somebody literally just yesterday and they were on not a great host, and the host was on, they were having problems with the website, and I was helping them out. And then we realized they were on an outdated version of PHP, and that host would not upgrade them or show them how, or said it wasn't even possible. And there's nothing more frustrating when you're building a site to like get started on the wrong foot. I mean, it's like you got to go on a journey, and if the first step you like twist your ankle, it kind of sucks.
And that's a big red flag. Like, I mean, I don't want to go down the hosting rabbit hole, but when your host won't upgrade to, you know, the current version of PHP.
Yeah. So we wanted to just, you know, make that easy. And, you know, there's a lot of themes out there in WordPress, and we wanted to just, there's some that have put a lot of great special attention on LifterLMS. So we wanted to spotlight those. And it's also like people don't know what they don't know. So some people don't realize, like, I want to have an online course, but they're like, what's a form plugin? I'm like, oh, well, most websites have a contact form. And by the way, you can do some advanced things with forms inside your courses. But just having them see that, like, oh, it was important enough for LifterLMS to put that category of, you know, plugin on there, like that must be important. Maybe I should check that out. Because it's also, what do we not know? I think the number one question we get asked outside of what Lifter can do is, what do you recommend for video hosting? So because we get asked that question like almost every day through multiple channels, it's on the list now. So now we have some short list of video hosting. Right.
I think, well, it starts with like, how does video hosting work? And then what do you recommend for video hosting?
Yeah, exactly.
But exactly. So like, there's a lot of, I think I mentioned that there was, at last count, 48 different resources on the page, but just eyeballing it, there's probably about, I'm going to guess, like 20 categories that we have here for resource types. Do people need something from every single category? Like, what are like the bare bones things, the minimum, the MVP? Like, what do people absolutely need, and what are sort of the, you know, the nice to haves versus the need to haves when you're starting with your website?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So we want, like, minimalism is key. So we could put like 1,000 resources on here if we wanted to, but we're trying to help with the overwhelm, not create more overwhelm. And I think it's important to note that there's different types of people out there getting into courses in terms of how much complexity they want to manage and deal with. So you could be like a beginner, very new to WordPress, not really tech savvy, and still pull it off. You're going to want a few less things than people who are more advanced. And I can give an example of that. And first of all, I just want to note that some of these items on this page do have some affiliate links, and we put that on there. It doesn't cost you more money, but we do get a commission if you buy through our link. But that's not the driving force of what we put on here. The number one goal is to just help you with, you know, find the tools you want to for your platform in as little as time as possible and without wasting money. But minimalism is what it's all about. Like, every website needs web hosting. You need a domain name. You need, in my opinion, email marketing and CRM. You really do need that. It's kind of fundamental. You know, you could skip the form plugin. Like, you could just put your email address on the page. You could skip the SEO plugin and worry about that later. You're probably going to want video unless you happen to have like an audio or text-based course. You know, project management, you may not need, if you're not doing coaching or consulting, or not doing like sales webinars or one-on-one virtual meetings as in your sales process, you could probably skip the virtual meeting. But I mean, really, this is a pretty minimal list. There's a few that you could kind of cull out here if you want to go bare bones, but even the ones that we do have, like some third-party recommendations that are, you know, nice to have, but maybe not essential third-party add-ons. But it's really pretty fundamental. If it's important enough for us to put it on there, like analytics, in my opinion, if the website is the business, you really should be integrating Google Analytics from day one so that you can make data-informed decisions. So that's why it's on there. The form plugins, they're on there because we don't want you to get a bunch of spam email because you put your email address directly on your website, not behind a contact form. So even though some of these things feel a little extra, we're taking a minimalist approach. And I know one you added today around design services. We're recommending a tool called Design Pickle. I see, let's be honest, folks, 10% of you listening to this are wonderful and fantastic at graphic design. And if you want to get like an image of your course design, like every course has a featured image. We recommend, getting some professional graphic design help with that. So Design Pickle is something we recommend over there. We've been using that ourselves and love it. So yeah, it's a comprehensive list, but it's not really it's not meant to, let's make this list as big and as massive as we can.
Right. So when you first started out, Chris, when you made what was your first course? Was it the one about frying an egg?
They were omelets, actually.
Sorry.
I called it the POET omelet method. POET stands for perfect omelets every time.
Oh. I still have to take that course. When you made your first omelet course, what did you start with? And did you have a checklist that you were referring to, or did you just kind of make it up as you went along? Did you have a mentor? How did you get from the idea of having a course to actually having a course?
I had nothing. I had no mentor, nobody guiding me. I just kind of challenged myself. I couldn't explain it. I was compelled to figure this online training thing out. And my omelet course was more just a test of can I do this? And that first version of a course I put up on Udemy. And so pretty much all it was my laptop. I had an external video camera on a tripod.
Okay.
And my laptop had some video editing software in it. I didn't really do much with the post-production of it. And it was only a 6-lesson course where I teach 6 different omelets. And I was actually house sitting for somebody, and I actually recorded it in their kitchen. And to this day, they don't know that their kitchen is all over the internet with my omelet course. But that's it. It was really just my computer and a video camera, and then whatever I needed to do my thing. So some food,
some eggs.
Yeah, and that was it. But it's now even the computer itself, the built-in video camera on a computer, is if you're going to do talking head, and for most, I would say almost the majority of online courses, you're good to go with just your built-in video camera. And some people don't even put there's not a need for a talking head, and they just do screen share, or they're videoing something out in the field. So
yeah, I've seen people also do video recordings of their a PowerPoint presentation, for example.
Yeah, Keynote or PowerPoint is a really popular way to get started. And we've seen people even for the video piece, we're actually using Zoom to record this, which is that virtual meeting and webinar software we recommend. You can actually record your lesson videos by having a meeting all by yourself and hitting the record button in Zoom. And there's all kinds of little tricks like that.
And Zoom is free you can upgrade to different plan levels, but the basic plan in Zoom is actually free. So
yeah, that's a really good point. We tried to recommend too. We're always conscious of price and helping people get their course and their project launched without breaking the bank, because you can always improve things. I told you about my microphone journey over time. But so for example, on email marketing, MailChimp, I often recommend as a great entry point. They have a free plan. You can do your broadcast emails, and you can do a lot for free. It's just a great entry point. Your earbuds that you already have are free. Great entry point. Your computer you already have is free. Great entry point. A lot of the form plugins, no, they're not free. A lot of the form plugins, not all of them, but have a free version that's very suitable.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. SEO, the SEO plugin Yoast, it's there's a free version. So a lot of this stuff, it doesn't mean you got to go buy something in every category either.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I want to talk to you about or ask you about, because I get this question a lot. I see this question from our customers a lot. And this is one of our categories here, are page builders. Is a page builder required with Lifter LMS? And if not, because I know the answer, when do you recommend a page builder? Like, who is a page builder for?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first of all, WordPress by itself is a page builder. It builds pages, and with the block editor that came out at the end of 2018, it has more page builder-like features, which continue to grow and expand. So for a lot of people, they don't need a page builder. They're good with just regular WordPress and their theme. So it's often the other way around, where people just come at us and they're already using page builder. They're like, I use Elementor, I use Beaver Builder, I use Divi. They're just page builder first, and now they want to get into online courses. And I'm like, all right, we're ready for you. Okay. But sometimes if they come the other way and they're like, I'm doing this like more complex marketing campaign, and I need a landing page that has like this really specific layout and all these other features in it. It's starting to sound like page builder land, where you're doing complex designs and you want to get them done quickly without like doing, custom design from scratch. Page builders are great for that. Like Astra has the Astra starter sites, which is, a way to get even more, kind of beginner page builder layouts that already look great, designed for a specific purpose with either Beaver Builder or Elementor. And they have some stuff for Gutenberg now that is, you can just drop right in. So, but the reality is, like the theme of this show, I'd like to just mention that I'd recommend is just being a minimalist. It's easy to get overwhelmed and just get too many plates spinning that you almost forgot that the main goal here is to help a learner on somewhere else in the world through the internet achieve some result by taking your course. Right. So I always like to come back to that. Like, if your audio's like not perfect but gets the job done, is that going to make or break the your student learning? If you have a fancy layout on your homepage that you did with a page builder, is that going to make or break is it going to prevent you from getting a sale or helping that learner learn? So sometimes we have to get out of our own way and get launched as minimally as possible, but then you can come back to this list and build and just iterate, improve over time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, another category, which I think is interesting that we have here, and I think it's because we use it a lot ourselves, is the automated meeting scheduling, because that can really save you a lot of, we've talked about saving time, money, and focus, can really save you both time and focus, I think, as, a course creator or somebody who owns their own business.
Yeah, I can't tell you how, like, I used to schedule meetings all around the world, like manually. I can't even, I'm not going back to that world.
I know. Well, we did too. When we did client services, we had clients right all over the country, like all over the world, and in every time zone. And it was constantly like, we use time zone conversion websites to make sure we were all talking about the same thing. But, misunderstandings can happen a lot. And in this sort of like global economy.
Yeah, it's just like, here's my link. And then you just wait for them to appear. Yeah. And I think that's important too, just to mention, like, for a meeting or a scheduling for a course creator, one of the counterintuitive things I recommend is, especially if you have a higher priced program, is make it possible for people to schedule a call with you. Because a lot of people don't necessarily like spend $1,000 or more without having talked to you first to make sure, to build the relationship, build the trust, and see if you're a good fit for each other. So that's why it's on the list. It's helpful in doing that. It's helpful for doing like post-purchase coaching scheduling. It's helpful for if you start working with other freelancers and contractors and people on your team to like schedule call times and stuff. I mean, you'll just use the heck out of it once you start working with other people.
And so that doesn't necessarily, or it doesn't have an actual integration with LifterLMS, but that's just something that you would throw up on your website separately, correct?
Yeah, or use like just to run your online training business by email or whatever, where you send somebody a link to schedule a call with you.
Yeah, I think that's great. And the last thing I wanted to ask you to touch on again, since I think this could maybe scare some people that are just getting started, is the video editing category. Do you need to be a professional video editor or have those skills to get your course off the ground?
Well, I would just ask you that's listening or watching this right now, if you have listened or watched this podcast before, this is near episode 300. It's been going for 4 years, and all I do is I chop a little bit off the beginning and a little bit off the end, if that. And that's my video editing process. And these podcasts still deliver value, even though they're not totally perfect edited. And also if I'm doing like a PowerPoint slide narration, inevitably I'll mess something up. Sometimes it's okay just to be human and like fix it on the fly and go for it. So I'm not saying there isn't a place for editing but you don't let perfection be the enemy of just getting the job done. So, and tools like you learned, Allie, fairly recently, how to use Screenflow, which is a video editing tool for Mac. Personally, I only use 5% of what it does.
Yeah.
Just dragging things around, cutting them up, and sending it out. But it does a lot more. What was it like for you getting going with Screenflow? I mean, how hard was it?
It was, there's definitely a learning curve with it, but there are a lot of like YouTube videos. I wouldn't underestimate the power of a good YouTube video.
Yeah.
to get started. And as long as you have, the right computer and the right equipment for it, it's not too complicated to just do a little bit of chopping here and a little bit of chopping there. Like you said, I probably use 5% of it. I probably know how to use like 3.5 to 4% of it. I know that it has a lot more power, than I even would know what to do with. But yeah, there's a lot of great video tutorials out there to help you get started with a lot of these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, any last words you want to say about the resources page, or anything that like you're super excited about that I forgot to ask you about, or that you want to make sure that our audience knows about?
Well, I would just say to keep coming back to it. It's at lifterlms.com/recommended-resources. Also, just don't feel like you have to like get it all at once. It's a resource. It's a living document. And we do have something called the Infinity Bundle, which is our biggest bundle. It has a weekly call that we run in it called LifterLMS Office Hours Mastermind. And some of the topics that come up in there are discussions around these things. So, we're kind of putting this list to these frequently asked questions that we get like all the time, like what video hosting do you recommend and stuff. But if you want to have a more in-depth conversation around it, not just with LifterLMS, but with other course creators just like you who are, using these tools, learning what they like, learning what they don't like, I'd encourage you to check out the Office Hours Mastermind call that happens every week. And that's a benefit of the LifterLMS Infinity Bundle.
That's a good point.
Do you have any final thoughts, Allie?
No, I mean, I just think that like this page was born from the fact that we're always talking and thinking about what we can do to help our customers be more successful. And, their success is our success. And, we really want this to be useful. So, we welcome any feedback anybody has. They can always, send us a message through the contact form on our website. If there's some resources that they're looking for or have questions about them, we're happy to answer them.
And that's a wrap for this episode of LMScast. I'm your guide, Chris Badgett. I hope you enjoyed the show. This show was brought to you by LifterLMS, the #1 tool for creating, selling, and protecting engaging online courses to help you get more revenue, freedom, and impact in your life. Head on over to LifterLMS.com and get the best gear for your course creator journey. Let's build the most engaging, results-getting courses on the internet.